Hello everyone, welcome to another open mind intuitive message. This message will be for the general collective, and this is the beginning of a new series that I'm starting, focusing on healing the collective, not just describing the issue, but possibly offering solutions to the collective, to my listeners. Focusing on the 11th house potentially. So this is especially the case for Gen Z, Gen A, millennials in America, and also different parts of the world that have experienced trauma for generations due to government action, the destruction of families, economic instability, so on and so forth. So hopefully these readings will help you guys figure out how to live lives of fulfillment, of peace, of empowerment, of hope and optimism, because that's what's missing today. There's a lot of apathy, depression, frustration, repressed anger, loneliness. What can we do as a collective to restore the fabric of society, restore our families, our communities, our schools, our spiritual institutions, economically? What can we do together to restore our faith and our hope in the future? Because there's a lot of hopelessness going on, a lot of anger, and we are angry with the wrong people. That's number one. Let's see. Releasing, letting go, moving, and walking away. So a lot of us are holding on to negative emotions, unrealistic expectations, our ego, pain, disappointment. Saturn is here. There's a lot of resentment that's being experienced by the collective. Letting go, moving on, and walking away from what exactly? That's depending on your situation. But some of you guys are holding on to a lot of resentment, bitterness, fear, anger, anxiety. And it's causing you to socially isolate, to not trust anyone. There's a general sense of distrust and becoming misanthropic, hating everyone and everything. Pluto and Scorpio, millennials are going through this. Gen X are also going through this. Gen Z in their own way. But Pluto and Scorpio, millennials have a hard time releasing anything because Scorpio is a fixed sign, and Pluto and Scorpio is about releasing power, right? Releasing trauma. And sometimes people feel like if they release the anger, if they forgive the person who's hurt them, then they're giving their power away. So in this society, we feel like anger and resentment is a source of power for us. If we don't forgive the people who hurt us, then we're holding them accountable. If you forgive them, you're not holding them accountable. So we have to release anger, frustration, resentment, grief, disappointments, unrealistic expectations, bitterness. All this stuff has to be let go of. Stress. Yes, it is causing stress. Turbulence, tension, arguments. This has to be released. We're holding on to too much stress and negativity in our bodies. So some of us think that holding on to bitterness relieves stress, because if you're bitter, you're always on guard and you won't let people take advantage of you again, or they can't hurt you again because you're on the defensive. But that's causing more stress. So we have someone driving in a storm, but they can't really see. They're in their car. You see the raindrops on the window or the windshield, then the umbrella here. So it's The way you're coping with stress, the way you're coping with your anger is causing more issues. You think that holding on to resentment and bitterness is actually going to protect you from getting hurt again, because you think that being angry and bitterness is a way for you to protect yourself. It's how you develop, or it's how you cultivate discernment. If I never forget the past, then it can't happen to me again. Never again. There is this collective bitterness and resentment towards people and situations from the past. So these are things you've already gone through from your childhood, intergenerational curses, racism, drug addictions, childhood. This is a lot of stuff here. A lot of energy has to be released. We're wound up too tight. Release the stress. And the stress is not just about paying bills, right? That's part of it. That is part of it. But we're stressed about paying bills because of how we think people will see us if we need help, if we fall behind, if we can't afford things. Trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to maintain an image. And we're trying to maintain an image of invincibility, of being an individual and being independent, because we're afraid of trusting people and we don't want people to take advantage of us. So if people see us in a vulnerable position, they'll look down on us and maybe take advantage of us and use us and like exploit us in some way. There is a pathological fear of other people in this country. Nobody trusts anybody. And for good reasons. You know, we have a lot of trauma in this country. There's a lot of betrayal, a lot of exploitation. And people are like, they're warehousing that, storing that in their bodies. So now they can't connect. Something has to give. So instead of releasing the anxiety and resentment and fear, people are crashing out. They're destroying their bodies. They're hurting people closest to them because they feel powerless. There's so many layers here of trauma that have not been resolved. This is generational stuff. This is cultural. This is historical. This is economic. This is spiritual. This is in every aspect of this society. There's been some betrayal, some abuse, conditioning. This is like a meat grinder. This country is like this is a meat grinding situation. Or people are on a crucible. This country is like a crucible where you're being pulled in so many different directions and squeezed. You're squeezed for everything. There's so much pressure to be something that you're not. And you have to let go of that too. Let go of the ego. Let go of trying to become something that you're not, based on conditioning. You're supposed to make this much money. You're supposed to look like this. You're supposed to have that. You're supposed to have a degree. It's like there's so many supposed to's. There's so many rules. You can't even enjoy life. Not just because of the rules, but because it's like you were traumatized. Many of you were traumatized as children. And to cope with that trauma, you began to follow the rules, right? If I get a good job, if I go to college, if I have all this money, I don't have to deal with being abused as a child, being neglected. So it's like the system was set up to destroy your self-esteem by destroying your family, to corral you into this sheep mindset of having to participate in the system a certain way, to be a part of the system in a certain way, right? So it's like I have to destroy your family, your social networks, your community, your sense of self, so that you buy into whatever it is we're selling: a car, a degree, a house, a lifestyle, an image. So this was this, and you're still holding on to the resentment of not having that family, not having that community, of the abuse you endured at the hands of people who were also a victim of the system. This compounded trauma here, that all has to be released. You have to forgive yourselves and each other. There's no other way. There's no other way this is going to work. Even if the people who hurt you don't care and there's no remorse, you're not forgiving them for them. You're doing it for yourself, because this is not sustainable. You cannot live like this. You're destroying yourself, trying to hurt them or trying to hold them accountable. So it's like you want to be miserable, or you want to be successful even, to prove to the people who hurt you that they were wrong, that they made a mistake, that they should have done you the way they did. It's like you're living your life to prove other people wrong, or to prove your value to other people. There's an externalization of value here. Your value has been externalized. It doesn't come from you anymore or your ancestors. It comes from something else, something that can be sold or commodified, and it loses value. So now, okay, your parents abandoned you. Now your value comes from having a degree, right? Going to college, getting your own home and your own place, having money, right? Traveling, right? Being a boss girl or boss dude. But you still haven't dealt with the trauma of your childhood abandonment. And so now you can't have healthy relationships. Now your work-life balance is not right. Now you're unhealthy. Now you have to leave the country to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend because you're intolerable here. It's a bunch of zombies walking around in this country. By design. It's not by accident. This was done systematically. Okay? Let's continue. Spirit guides, what does the collective need to do to obtain fulfillment, peace, happiness, joy, mirth, health, relaxation, safety? People feel unsafe. They're always on guard. They don't trust anybody. Drug addicts everywhere. Mentally ill people everywhere. This is a crucible. People are being crushed here. Not just economically, but spiritually too. You have to give yourself permission to be free. Psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. No matter how much money you have, no matter how you look, no matter where you live, your degrees, that should not matter. You have to start healing from within. Those things are at this point inconsequential, because the system is about to collapse anyway. And you will collapse with it if you don't deal with this issue. If you don't let go of the rules. This is the Hierophant in reverse. The Hierophant has to get reversed here. You have to break the rules. I didn't say crash out and be destructive. I'm saying stop seeking validation by way of capitalism. Because the only religion this country has, the only tradition this country upholds is spending money. They don't care about family. They don't care about education. They don't care about culture. They don't care about healthcare. The powers that be that govern this country only care about you spending money. You have to release your attachment to that ideal. Your value should not be based on how much money you can spend in the system. Because then everything else you do leading up to that, right, is about coping. So your family's destroyed. It's not for everybody if this pertains to you. Your family's destroyed, right? You don't have a healthy relationship with yourself or your siblings or a significant other, right? You're afraid of having children, or you don't have a good relationship with children. Just so much combativeness among each other, within the family, within relationships, and within yourself. You have to let go of capitalistic ideals, of their expectations. I didn't say lose your home, leave your home, and be irresponsible. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we have to get to the point, or get back to the point, where we stop judging people for what they have and start seeing them for who they are as people. Right? You should be able to enjoy yourself with somebody who has lots of money or someone who doesn't have as much money. Right? And the people who don't have as much money should not be jealous of those who have lots of money. There's jealousy, there's animosity, and it's based on fake ideals, based on your ability to navigate a system that's toxic and broken in the first place. So how well can you perform, or how successful can you be in a sick system? Then you kind of have to be sick yourself in some way. Something has to be off or distorted in your psyche, right? It's not always the case, but in a lot of instances, that is the case. We see lots of people who are professionals suffering from depression, overeating, not eating enough, health issues, alcoholism, drug abuse, and they have great jobs and make good money. So what's the issue? The issue is they have not released childhood trauma, they haven't released collective psychic trauma, and they haven't released their need to be validated by external things that can be taken away. You can lose your job tomorrow. You can lose your home in a storm the next, within a week. By tomorrow, you can lose everything that you're using to anchor your value in within 24 hours. And then what? You're just drifting in the wind? No, that's not the solution here. You guys really have to be intentional about divesting from the system emotionally. Make your money, fine, but don't let the money make you. Don't let the money define you. Don't do anything for money. Queen of Cups, Cancer energy. The United States is a Cancerian country. Cancer represents the mother, the home, nurturing, right? The family, the community, children, your emotional needs. This is releasing emotional baggage, restoring emotional balance, right? Being able to heal and nurture others because you're healing and nurturing yourself. Getting back to that space where our value doesn't come from how much money we make, but it comes from how well we can help others. Are you a safe haven for your friends or your family? Or are you a backstabbing, two-faced narcissist who looks down on people who don't make as much money as you? Or are you a backstabbing, two-faced narcissist who's jealous of people who have more than you? It can go both ways. But we have to get to the point where we start to value feminine principles, right? Receptivity, community, children, home, family. Okay? Having a communal mindset instead of an individualistic mindset. Being interdependent, not codependent. Healing the family structure. It's not going to be easy because everybody's not going to be in the same playing field as you. So it has to start at the macro level first, I think. Starting individually, you can do it within yourself, but if you try to reach out to family members who are still toxic, then it won't work, right? So work on yourself and then find like-minded people who can create programs or spaces or organizations for you to do this work, to start healing others. There has to be a national movement to heal the collective, psychically, emotionally, spiritually. Yep. Knight of Cups. Pisces energy. Releasing the ego. The ninth house is the house of our belief systems, right? Long distance travel, spirituality. But this is Pisces and Cancer. Water and water. Feminine energy has to be restored. It's too masculine. Get into the bag. I don't care about nobody. Me first, individualism. Men are inherently individualistic. Mars is an individualistic planet. Doesn't really care about anybody else. People are just tools for whatever its agenda is, right? Get back to Moon and Venus energy. Get back to feminine energy. The men and the women have to do this. So Mars is high stress. Mars is always going out to get it. More, faster, harder, stronger, bigger. More exploitation, more war, more conflict. That's how it feeds itself. And it's been corrosive to the collective psyche. This energy is corrosive. We have to get back to Venus values. Even in the music, right? Mars has taken over music. Hip hop culture is straight Martian. And you wonder why there's so much violence in the communities. Mentally, emotionally, and physically. Towards women, towards men, towards everybody. There's no love at all. We have to get back to that heart-centered love. Not based on sex, but based on your intrinsic value as a human being. I care about you not because of how much money you have, not because of how big your muscles are, not because of how big your booty is, not because of how light-skinned you are. No, I love you because you're a human being, just like I am, and you have something to contribute to humanity, just like I do. You have inherent value, and I see that. It doesn't matter how much money you make. I still value you as a person. We have to get back to those principles. If we don't, it's over. Okay? It's over, literally. You're going to see more and more social decline, more atomization. 10 of Pentacles. The family, the community being restored. The Chariot, more Cancer energy. We have to get back to the family. Not just the family you know or if you're related to, because some people's families are very broken, dysfunctional, toxic, and they don't want to heal. But you guys may have to create your own families. Our tribes were once families, extended families. So just because you can't get along with people that you were raised with doesn't mean that the members of your tribe should be alienated too. That's the issue. So we've alienated also people in our community. So the home got destroyed by the drugs, right? And the mental illness and the government warfare, psychic warfare on the collective, assassinations and, moving people into urban areas and then burning down those areas and then food deserts. All of these things were done intentionally and deliberately by the government. And so the family has been destroyed. We have to get back to those principles, not just among your immediate family, but the extended family of your tribe. The people who look like you, who share your culture, who know what your experiences are in this country. Right? Then you can talk about nationalistic principles, ideals, coming together as a nation. But the community, the tribe has to come together first. The tribe can heal the family. The tribe should be your extended family. We don't have that either. That's going also. One more. Ten of Pentacles is Virgo energy. We have the King of Pentacles and Three of Swords. Yep, the Divine Masculine is in pain. Psychological pain. King of Pentacles. The Patriarch the Patriarch is bitter. Men have lost their way. And they're wreaking havoc on their community. Because they don't know who they are. They've lost their purpose. So they've become cannibals. They've started to cannibalize on the weak, the helpless, the ignorant, the young, the vulnerable. They're causing a lot of problems. This is Venus energy again. Restoring the balance. But then we have the Three of Swords is also Venus, which is Libra. And then we have King of Pentacles, which is Taurus. That's also Venus. So we have Venus and Venus. Restoring the Venusian aspects of society. Beauty, culture, music, femininity, right? Dancing, not just sex. Sex is Mars. Don't conflate sex with romance and femininity. That's not that, okay? Sex is straight up Mars. But the romance, the foreplay, all that stuff, that's the ritual of preparing for sex is Venus. And we need to get back to doing that. So what beautification rituals do we have at this point? Do we have finishing schools? Do we have charm schools? Do we have places where women can come together and be safe and be beautiful and not competitive and not judgmental because somebody's hair is different, somebody's body is different, somebody has somebody's man competing for these men? A lot of these men are causing problems with the King of Pentacles and Three of Swords. The men are not only not around, but the ones who are around, many of them don't know who they are, and so they become destructive. Right? Against their own, maybe their intentions. I mean, they may not try to, but because they don't know who they are, right? And they're just operating out of impulse, instinct, and hormones, they create more problems than they're worth. Two of Wands, new opportunities. There's a new potential here for us to work together. Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment, Pisces energy. We have so much potential here. The Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. The Nine of Cups is an ideal, a belief that things can get better, that we can heal. The men have to be part of this also. The Queen of Water and the King of Earth. The King of Earth is a practical, responsible man that is focused on paying the bills, on building foundations for his children, his legacy. The Queen of Cups is the mother who nurtures the children in the home and in the community. There's nothing wrong with the woman being in the house. Or she could be out working and the man's in the house. Somebody has to be at home with the kids. Somebody. It could be you, the woman, or a man. But someone has to be home with the babies. They have to be devoted to those children at some point. Even if they have to make sacrifices. So the king and the queen have to come back together. They have to come back together. There has to be unity. But before you can get to that point, you have to release resentment, anger, bitterness. And many people don't want to do that. So you have to find community with people who are on your level. Everybody's starting at different stages. Some people are at stage 0, where they're still crashing out. Some are at 1, where they're starting to become aware of their issues. Some are at 4, 5, 10, whatever. But find people who want to do this, who are willing to put in the work to heal and be better by releasing not just negative emotions and baggage, but also toxic behavior, addictions, right? Self-destructive behavior. Promiscuity. There's a lot of this, this is going to take some time. But if we work together, male and female, old and young, different races, different whatever, start with your tribe first. Your tribe has to be on point first. If we work together, then we can actually heal this issue. It's going to take some time, though. It's going to take some time. Spirit guides, I need some more information for the collective, please. How can the collective heal deep wounds about self-esteem, about self-worth, about family, and trust, and power, and resources, and shame, and addictions? What can we do to fix this? Makeup jar. Inner beauty. Not seeing how beautiful life is. Just look below the gray. Beautiful days will return soon. Short-lived depression. We have a lot to look forward to. But it's a matter of perspective. A lot of people are feeling like collectively stressed, depressed, anxious, devastated, negative. This hopelessness as well. Space Ranger, hero, stand-up dude, a shoulder to lean on, trustworthy, loyal friend, helper, fair and kind, green flag. Are you a good friend? Are you a safe space or safe haven for people who need you? Do you know how to build community? Do you trust people? Do you trust yourself? That's what I said earlier. We have to rebuild trust among each other and stop judging each other for or by way of capitalistic ideals. How much money you have, this and the third. Those things aren't important. They never were important. Even when we were in the economic boom, those things were never important. Right? We were conditioned and programmed into believing they were important for the sake of profits, for wealthy people, for capitalists and bankers. That's it. So they told you to sacrifice your family and your community and chase Reebok sneakers and Filas and rope chains and tracksuits. That's what we did. And drugs and getting high. And now you wonder why this is a huge crash out. There's a huge opportunity here. We're in the age of Aquarius, and Pluto's in Aquarius, and Uranus is in Gemini. We can actually build community or rebuild the community, because now we're in all air signs. The Pluto and Capricorn era was gnarly, just like Pluto and Scorpio, very gnarly. You got Pluto and Scorpio, which is Mars and Mars, and then Pluto and Capricorn, which is like Mars and Saturn, just awful energy. Or just awful energy. Very, money. Business oriented, cold, calculated money. That's it. Profits over everything else. Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg's. How rich can you get? No humanity. Mars and Saturn together, there's absolutely no compassion for humanity. And so we've kind of adopted those ideals during that time period. We have to get back to Venus and the moon. Umbrella. Femininity. Venus. Fashion. Shelter. Prestige. Power. Protection. Prosperity. Royalty. A need for protection. Protecting the women and children in the community. Even, it's just the men too. Are we protecting each other? Or are we like each other's predators? You got men preying on men preying on women, women preying on women, women preying on men. It's like a dog eat dog situation out here. Nobody trusts anybody. This is sick. This has to be fixed. Lollipop, sugar, something good and positive coming in. Positive, sweet treat, exciting, and excellent opportunity. I mentioned that. There's an opportunity for us to now come together. I low-key feel like an economic depression or recession is what this country needs, because people are way too materialistic. Here we go. Workaholic. Come up for air. Hidden element. Digging. Getting things started. Hidden goals. Reaching goals. Keeping going. What's coming next? Keep going. What's coming next? So it's like this Pluto and Capricorn energy. We were in the Capricorn cycle for 250 years. Now we're in Aquarius. Right? Lots of earth, just money, profits, material things. All those things are important. You need to eat. You need shelter. You need clothes, right? But at the expense of what? You also need community and family and love. We have to restore this. It may not happen on like the familial level, because we're in the age of Aquarius, which is not about family. It's about your friends, right? It's your extended global family. So perhaps it may be easier for most of us to connect with our extended tribe members, our extended family members, which is the tribe itself, right? Which is, the people in your community, the people who are like-minded individuals who share your same goals, dreams, and ideals, to connect with those people and build community with them, so that you can recreate those moments that people are watching wistfully on the internet back in the 70s, in the 60s, in the 80s and 90s, when people actually had fun together. They enjoyed each other's company. You couldn't do that after 2008 because everybody's trying to get to the bag. All about the money. We're in a depression. We're at war. Whatever. So the government did this. But we have a lot of potential here. This could actually work out really well. Because if you remember, in the 80s and 90s, the economy was kind of rough, right? We had the drug epidemic, but people were still, there was still a sense of community and culture. Venus was still strong, right? We still had love songs. We still had movies that celebrated the beauty of women and men and relationships, not just sex. But like I said, when it turned into all profits, Mars was activated. Mars in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn. Mars it was just about money. The music became about money. It became about war and destruction. And people are now sick of it. You can't trust anybody. Or they don't want to trust anybody. I didn't even notice this. Second chance, reconciliation, making amends. Another opportunity again. There's an opportunity here for us to come together and to heal this. It may not be with your immediate family because your immediate relatives may be drug addicts. They may have issues that prevent them from wanting to work together. I don't know. That's on them. But in the age of Aquarius, your family may be people from different parts of the world. Parasocial relationships, right? Friendship simulations. Building community that way. A real community, not just gossip and mess. The vessel. It's kind of like the moon energy as well. We have a woman with a womb. Yes, this is moon energy. One more, please. Apocalypse. Okay. Well, let's see what this says. Let's do apocalypse first. The unknown becomes known and guides the way. When dark, nihilism, fatalism, hopelessness. This is where we are now. When light, the unknown becomes known and guides the way. So what you didn't know is that you were holding on to emotions, stress, expectations, attitudes, and beliefs that were preventing you from making, or I guess, cultivating community or fostering community with other people. So now there are no third spaces, right? There's no space for skating or hanging out just with your girlfriends getting their hair done or there's none of that. And whose fault is that? The movie, This Is the End. Okay. All kinds of things will be revealed during a time of apocalypse, which is now. From big global lies, see, about capitalism, the American dream, right? Debts, loans, mortgages, your value, the community, the government, to little white lies that lace the bedroom sheets, right? This is from the macro, which is the government, to the micro, your individual living situation. Brace yourself for the horse of truth to storm your every field. So the truth about the lie is about to come out. And that's going to force us to come together to rebuild in a better way. We can rebuild this better. Build back better, I guess you could say. This card has a strong relationship to Alethea. If both cards appear in one reading, you've got some real uncovering to do. Take heed. Apocalypse indicates a particularly painful time, which is what we're in right now. families destroyed, economic downturn, suicide rates through the roof, right? Drug addictions, alcohol addictions, people killing their families, unemployment. It's getting rough. So now what you going to do? Keep blaming your mother or your crackheaded aunt for what happened 30, 40 years ago? No, you have to let go of the past and focus on rebuilding for the present and the future. That's all you can do. Apocalypse indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is a lifting of the veil, Neptune conjunct Saturn. It started a couple years ago. Actually started long earlier than that, but it's coming to a head now. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how relieving it is to witness them come to light, an element of grief and despair follows. So we were lied to the whole time by this government? Getting into debt and sacrificing our family wasn't worth it? The job that I thought I was going to get, if I got into debt, it's not going to be here anymore? AI's taking over? The American dream is a lie? I sacrificed my family for a dream that's not even real? Even if after getting all this stuff, I'm still not happy, I'm never going to be happy, I will always be in debt, I won't own anything still, I moved into this luxury apartment and I'm still broke, I'm still struggling, making 6 figures a year. Wow. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. This is the opportunity to rebuild better. The old narrative breaks and a new story forms. Apocalypse energy is similar to a forest fires, devastation for the sake of regeneration. I mentioned this earlier, that I think this an economic depression will ultimately be for the greater good of society. It may be difficult financially, right? But as far as culturally and socially, as far as relationships, I think people being forced to work together will force them to be nicer and more humane. We need to have more communal situations, a more communal culture, a more collectivist, as opposed to individualistic. Because everybody can't be a boss. So all these boss people who don't need anybody are going to third world countries to find girlfriends and boyfriends. But you don't need anybody. What happened? You're lying, right? Both sides are doing this, men and women. I don't need anybody. I'm a boss. You know, I make my own this, that, and the third. And then you're taking advantage of people who don't have resources because you need companionship, but you're too arrogant to work with anybody in this country. You want someone who needs you, who's subservient to you in some way, because you want to compromise. You want all the power, right? Because your ego, because your trauma. You don't trust anybody, so you have to go to a third world country to buy a person to buy someone's loyalty. This is men and women doing this, of all races. You got to buy their loyalty. They got to put up with you because they need you. And you prefer that arrangement because you have control. You don't have to be a better person if they need you financially. Every passport bro that I've met has issues with their mother. And the women too have issues with their father. And I'll explain why later on. If she needs me, she can't go anywhere. She won't abandon me. The veil lifts, and we see who and what has been hiding. From the nakedness of the truth, a child is born. This vessel, Queen of Cups. Chariot card, going towards the star, which is Aquarius. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. Your center. It didn't say hold on to your job, right? Or your ego, or your wardrobe. Your job is important. Keep that. But the other stuff is not necessary. Start investing in people, not Bergdorf Goodmans, not Tiffany's, not Chanel. They don't need your money anymore. They have lots of money. How are you investing in your community, in your children, in your nieces and nephews? And are you sponsoring little basketball leagues in your community, little skating tournaments? Are you doing those things? If you have the money. I don't care about how much money you're spending on luxury. I don't care. Personally, I don't care. What are you doing to help your community? Don't tell me about where you're eating, who you're hanging out with, how much money you're spending. I don't care. What does that have to do with anybody? It does nothing. It's more individualism, and we don't need any more of that. We need more collective support. Did I say give all your money away? I didn't say that. But how are you investing in your communities, in the children, in the third spaces that you say you want? Now let's go to the vessel, and I'm going to close it out. It's the last one. I think so. Wow, just about. When light, stable, strong, and graceful. When dark, trapped, being in a bubble. The bubble of capitalism. The bubble of insecurity, of distrust, of misanthropy, right? I don't like anybody. I can't trust nobody. If I can't control you, I can't trust you. Right? If you're not kissing my ass and tell me what I want to hear, I don't want you around me. Stuff like that. Very immature energy. The physical body is the most sacred vessel of all. It is the one in which you reside from your first breath to your last. It may need your attention. Stress, poor health, causing mental health issues, poor diet, heart disease, strokes, autoimmune disorders. All this mess can be attributed to the destruction of the social networks in our community, the social frameworks in our community. Cultural decline, all this stuff is making us sicker. People are dying younger and younger. The mentor and the healer must pay particular attention to this archetypal form. Healing cannot be sustained without a strong container. Absolutely. So for some of you guys to do this work, if you want to become healers or you want to help the community, you have to heal yourself first. Physician, heal thyself. First and foremost. So your mind has to be right. Your body has to be right. Your diet has to be right. For you to be a good steward of this, of other people. Otherwise, you'll lead them astray. Okay? The vessel. The vessel may be the most powerful archetype from form on earth. It is everywhere. Cups hold liquid. Stoves hold fire. Our bodies hold organs. Our homes hold families. Through this simple act of separation, the vessel protects what it contains. Nests protect eggs. Savings accounts protect our earnings. Even the planets are contained within their circular orbit. When this card appears, it is time to assess what is being held together and how. Is the vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, full, or perhaps there's no vessel at all, and the contents spill in every direction? And that is what we have. We have no more vessels, no more villages, no more communities, no more intact families. I didn't say everybody has an effed up family dynamic. I didn't say that. But as a collective, this is bad. we're in a bad state. When you have droves and droves of men and women of all races, not just black men and white men, whatever, all races going to other parts of the country to find wives or girlfriends. And women are saying, please stay away from me, men, you're a disaster. This is yikes. Yikes on the bike. Nobody likes each other anymore? What the hell happened? We know what happened, but how are we going to fix it? Running from the problem isn't fixing it. Because if the economy collapses, how much money will you have to spend on your passport, bro, excursions, when your community's been destroyed? It is natural for structures to be formed and eventually fall apart. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? You must find out. So this is broken already. Either we're rebuilding it better or fixing what's been broken. I think this situation has to be broken down because it was built on a faulty foundation in the first place. Whatever cohesiveness we had was built on capitalism, right? Racism, ignorance, the American dream, a fantasy, an illusion. So it may have to get broken all the way down and rebuilt. If you do repair it, you're going to have to repair it and then fix the foundation as you're repairing it so that you don't cause too much of a disruption. But for this first message, we have to get back to our communities. But we can only do that when we release baggage about our families, our childhood, past traumas, exes, things of that nature. We have to let go of the past. We must let go of also the dream, right? The American dream, the illusion of getting into debt or buying your way into salvation, right? If only I have this much money, if I have this, I'll be happy. So always wanting more, never being satisfied with what you have. Again, having aspirations is not a bad thing, but your value system should not be predicated on a capitalist system that does not value anything or anybody. Then you become a narcissist and a sociopath, or just a selfish, materialistic person that's crying about not being able to shop at a store when you have a whole closet full of clothes. Nonsense. Okay? So we got to get it together. We got to get our minds right. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.